Hello and welcome to Wayward Spirit TV. So today I'm going to do another history of video. Today we are going to talk about the history of Christmas and its pagan roots. So just to let you know, a lot of people think that Christmas is a Christian holiday, but it actually stems from pagan religions. If you watched my history of Halloween video, which you should if you haven't, I basically tell you that like a lot of religions that we practice today that we think of as Christian religions actually stemmed from paganism and from the Celtics and religions like that, or like religions or groups like that. And it's because a long time ago, when Catholicism and Christianity took over, they took over those areas, and most did not want to convert to Catholicism or Christianity. So what they did is they decided that they were going to like compromise and put the two religions together. And so that's how we have a lot of holidays like Christmas and Easter and Halloween and a few others. So yeah, if this is new to you, it's some interesting news. I know my mom hates when I tell her about this stuff, because she's like, well, then we shouldn't just celebrate Christmas then. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just telling you it's not a Christian holiday. So yeah, my family loves my my paganism lore. Not really. But I love it, and I think it's just really interesting. So let's talk about the pagan roots of Christmas. I'm excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. All right. Okay. So most people are taught that Christmas is the birthday of Jesus. I think a good amount of people know that that isn't true, because there's actually historical evidence that Jesus, the person who was Jesus, was born in the springtime. But like I said in the beginning, Christian missionaries, even though this person named Jesus was born in the springtime, they adopted Yule celebrations, which was similar to Christmas back then, because they wanted to convert these pagans into Christians. And so that's kind of how they did it. And there are two winter holidays that Christmas kind of takes from, and that is Yule, like I said, and Saturnalia. So Saturnalia was a holiday that was celebrated in Rome, and it was a week where there were no laws, like at all. Like there were just no laws, which is so wild because we've all seen The Purge, and yeah. So they were celebrating the Roman god of agriculture, liberation, and time. And I guess they took the liberation pretty literally when they were celebrating this god. So the holiday in Germany and Scandinavia that is where most of our Christmas traditions actually come from is called Yule. And for Yule, they celebrate the god Odin, which sounds familiar. And if you're a supernatural fan, like I am, obviously, um, I think Odin was in Supernatural, right? I'm pretty sure. I think so. Anyway, but present day customs like a Yule log or like singing, like caroling, that comes from Yule. And caroling actually used to be called wassailing. And what they would do is they'd go from home to home, and they were drunk, and they would sing to their neighbors and celebrate their good health. And what they drank while they were doing that was actually like spiked cider. So that's also another tradition, is cider during Christmas. And the mistletoe was actually used in Europe. The Druids used it, and so did Native American cultures, although we have a much different um, outlook on mistletoe. So when you see a mistletoe, we see, okay, you should kiss. Like that's the tradition, kissing under the mistletoe. Well, back then, mistletoe was actually, they believed that it like protected them. And mistletoe back then also stood as like a neutral, a place where you could find neutral ground, and they wouldn't like fight or anything like that, and they would come to a compromise with land or whatever. And so back then they actually believed that it could help negotiate, peace, and it could help protect them, which I guess you can kind of see like translating later on into like kissing, because I guess that's like, it's still like a peace thing. I don't know if it's like a protecting thing, because actually mistletoe is poisonous, which is why most people use the plastic kind, because it's actually poisonous, which I didn't know that until this video. Yeah. Also, so wreaths, we use wreaths for Christmas, and a lot of them have holly on it. And for Christianity, it's supposed to represent the blood of Christ. But they actually used holly a long time, and wreaths a long time before then, because they thought that holly could ward off evil spirits, which is why they used them in wreaths back then. And when the Romans celebrated Saturnalia, they actually also exchanged gifts. But unlike now, where capitalism has taken over, they didn't spend all their money on gifts. What they did is they gave small little gifts as a token of good luck. So they thought giving each other like small gifts would bring good luck, which is really sweet. And it's kind of sad that like that really sweet tradition has turned into just, capitalism. So yeah. And the good luck was basically giving people hope that they could live throughout the winter, and that they would have crops, because back then during the winter they had a hard time growing crops and eating. And that also has to do with like Halloween, and why they celebrated like Halloween and stuff like that, which again, if you haven't seen the video, you should watch it. It's very interesting. Anyway. And I don't know if you know this, but Saint Nicholas, who's supposed to be Santa Claus, Saint Nick, was actually thought to be a real person. And he was a saint back in the 4th century AD. And he was known for giving gifts to the poor. And he had a big beard, much like Santa Claus. So that is actually where Santa Claus derives from, is Saint Nick. But before the actual Saint Nick, they also celebrated the god named Odin, like I mentioned, and he was always portrayed as an old man with a long white beard. And Odin, during the winter, would fly through the sky with an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir, and the kids would actually fill like stocking-like things with carrots and hay to get Sleipnir in. And then once he ate the carrots and the hay, Odin would put presents in the little stocking. So that's essentially where Santa came from, was the god Odin. All right. Now, one of the last traditions that I'm going to tell you about that actually have pagan roots is Christmas tree decorating. I'm sorry if that like burst your bubble. I apologize. But I think that's why my family doesn't like it when I tell them these facts, because I think it like bursts their bubble. Even though we've never been really religious, I guess like, don't ask me. I don't know. But I like burst their bubble, and I like burst that like bubble for them, that like this tradition is not like Christian, and that actually everything we really do has been done by people for centuries, and they've always celebrated different gods. But it is kept like, it's kept its like we've kept the traditions, and we've kept the same kind of thought process around it, kind of, but it's just different gods that they're celebrating. So, that's interesting. Yep. And during Saturnalia, Romans hung like small metal ornaments on trees outside of their houses. And so each of those like little ornaments represented a god like Odin, or Saturn, which is the god of agriculture and liberty and time, like I mentioned earlier. And so they would do that, and each one would, represent a god. Again, similar thought process, just different gods. And actually in Germany, when they were practicing like the winter solstice and stuff like that, they would use like fruits and candles and they'd put those out to honor Odin. So again, we've kind of meshed, like Christianity kind of meshed all of these traditions together, and then we've come out with Christmas and just celebrating a person that wasn't born on the day that we celebrate it. Honestly, to me, Christmas just, look, I don't want to be like a bah humbug person, because like, you know, I get to see my family during Christmas and I don't get to see them very often. So it's really nice to see them. And, you know, growing up, Christmas was one of my favorite holidays. But as I've gotten older and as I've learned what I have, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you get it? Like, I don't know, whatever. Like, I do think the whole family thing is great. Like, I do think that we should hang out with our families, but like, also, I mean, does it just, you know, everyone's like, oh, Jesus is the reason for the season. And I'm like, but not really. Like, not really. Not entirely, like at all, but you know, okay. So those are my thoughts on Christmas. Sorry if that changed your outlook on me. You know, I mean, I love the lights and I love the things, but it's just so funny now because every time I see like Christmas decorations, I'm like, oh, that's from paganism, like that derived from paganism. And my mom's like, really? And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. like this is who I am. Yeah. So again, this is a chaotic video, but I just love learning more about the pagan roots of holidays that we celebrate. Just because, you know, I think we should understand that like these traditions are not just like, I don't know, they're not just like American traditions, and even, you know, other countries celebrate Christmas and stuff like that. But I think we should know that these traditions they derive from, you know, that they derive from different parts of history. And I think that should just be acknowledged because it's not really taught. So yeah, so that's why I do this, because I think it's interesting, and I don't know, I just think people should know where these holidays actually come from, because yeah, because, you know, maybe back then they were saying Odin is the reason for the season. Okay, that was a joke. It wasn't that funny. Okay, anyway. We're gonna end this video now before everybody hates me because I'm like a Grinch. Okay. Well, anyway, I hope whatever holiday you celebrate during this time that you have the best time, and I just hope that yeah, you get to see your family and just have a great time. So yeah, and if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and like it, because that'd be nice. And if you didn't, I mean, you can dislike it and you can tell me why if you want. I mean, you know, sure. I can get what I get it. Anyway. All right. I feel like I just, every time I get to the outro, it's just so chaotic. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Well, I hope you found some of this interesting and me just not like babbling, but you know. Anyway, I will see you all next time, and don't forget to stay spooky, and yeah, bye.